Hey guys, what's crack-a-lackin'? Everybody doing all right? Somebody give me a 5 for 5 and we'll go ahead and roll right on through. As I get a 5 for 5, we'll get moving here, guys. Anybody can hear me, please share this out. I would really appreciate it. Yeah. Share, like, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, right? You know what I mean? Gotta say it, you know. Cool. Thanks, Menacing. Hey, thanks, Hilly, for being in here. Menacing, Renee. V's here. All right. Kim, what's up? Renee, here you are again. Jennifer, all my mods. I think Anna's in here. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Anna? Piperland, Cheryl, what's up? Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and start. And again, guys, I will mention this right at the beginning. My super chat stuff is activated now. I look to be starting memberships next Monday. So I'm going to be working on that. I got some pretty cool thumbnails and stuff I want to give you guys. Not really thumbnails. Emojis. Emojis and stuff like that. So anyway, that's what's going on. So guys, we've had we've had some pretty decent space weather. That CME that was the big one that was supposed to give us like a sideways blow, it actually did. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you this. This is the Discover data. I'm going to take it back to 3 days here. And I'll show you, because sorry, that's 7 days. I don't want that one. Here's the 3-day one. So, oh man, that was dumb. Anyway, I'm going to show you where it did hit. Okay, it hit, but we did not go into storm level. So, yeah, right here. Hit right in here, guys. We did go to -6 for a minute, but we did on the BZ. That's the negative polarity I talk about all the time. As the polarity of our magnetic field. It's basically the direction magnetically that our field's pointing. The more negative it is, the easier it is for space weather to come in. So I'll just kind of leave it there just to kind of keep it basic. But we look for -6. Just remember that threshold if you don't really want to know all the ins and outs of all that. And then the phi angle here, guys, that's the actual polarity of the solar wind itself. We've actually got a pretty decent-sized coronal hole opened up, like right in front of us. But anyway, this did hit, okay? That was that glancing blow, but it wasn't not enough to give us any kind of geomagnetic storm. Now, I will say this. I think I did see a reading of, at least back here, of like 70 on the density. So these things that, just kind of hit, right? Nothing's sustainable. The radiation storm is over. We don't have to worry about any of that right now. But the sun has gotten very active again. So let me show you before I go, showing you a bunch of charts and stuff. Here is the latest CME. And as you can tell, this is the NASA model. Top down here on the left. Side cut, which gives us north-south orientation here in the middle. And then our orbital line stretched out in a straight line. All three axes, which gives us a really good idea. Now, this is NASA's model, okay? All three of it's, we're taking a hit, okay? Whether we do or not, again, that's another thing. And I'll be, it does look like this one's going to hit, though. I will say that. It happened on the Earth-facing side of the sun. So it wasn't like directly, but it did happen, from what I can tell, like right in the Earth strike zone, like right in the middle. Little north of the equator of the sun, and we'll go over that some more here. But this does look to hit. So that's what I'll say to that. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and go to, I'm going to show you the CME first. Now, we just had another one. The sun's gotten very active, guys, the past couple days. We had like 24 hours of quiet time, but now that's over. I'll say that. This is the 31st. This was yesterday, and there really wasn't a whole lot going on, which is why I kind of chose not to go ahead and do a full live stream, because, there really wasn't a whole lot to, and I knew other stuff was getting ready to happen. This kind of stuff cannot hold. This will always intensify as we go towards solar maximum. Okay. By the way, guys, if you guys want to ask questions, go ahead and ask them. I will check in on the chat once in a while, and when I do, I'll ask one of my mods if they could just tag me and tell me what the question is. Just kind of a basic whatever. If there's any questions, I'll handle them that way. Okay, guys? Or we can wait till the end. It's whatever you guys want to do. But if you have any questions at all, please ask. Nobody's going to think you're stupid. Okay? This is a subject it's difficult to understand sometimes, and I try to bring it down to a level where we all can understand. I can sit here and read a bunch of word salad at you like a whole lot of other channels do, and I won't do that. I don't think it's productive. I don't think anybody likes it. It's definitely not entertaining at all. It's like sitting in a class at school that you just typically would not even want to be sitting there at all on a subject you hate. You know what I mean? Falling asleep and all that. So that's why I really try to be a little bit, because let's face it, when you're watching even educational stuff when you're on YouTube, it's got to be at least a little bit entertaining, or you're not gonna watch it. It's as simple as that. I've been around YouTube long enough now to understand that, and didn't understand it at first because it really wasn't my goal, but it is now, and I want you guys to know that I appreciate everything you guys are just being here for me. Almost 60,000 subs. I'm hoping I'm right around 75 by the end of this year, if not 100,000. That's going to be my goal. I really would like to double the subscriber count. I think we can do it. I really do. When I say we, it's because it's going to take you guys. I can make videos and stuff, and the subscribers will come, and I don't measure my success by subscribers. I just don't. I measure my success by the comments and by the emails I get and by the success of the other people that I surround myself with. That's just how I've always done it, and that's how I always will. The good comments, stuff that I read from you guys, is success to me. When I get comments like, hey, I never understood that at all until you said it that way. That right there that's my success. So just understand that, guys. Anyway, so you got here you go. That was the last one, and I don't think that last one over here is going to hit us. But these two here, this one, there was one over here on the side too. That one was behind the limb of the sun, so I don't think that's going to hit us. The first one there, the bigger one, I think is the one that's going to hit. Okay, so we will go back here and we will take a look at why I think that. We're going to go over here to, well, first off, we'll go back here to NOAA, and as you can tell, not a whole lot of flaring. Now, we have a sunspot that's become hyperactive, and I'll show it to you. It's not producing a whole lot of X-rays, at least into like the C or M class range. But it's flashing, and you'll see it. It is really active. And if it starts to harbor any extra energy and stuff, and if it's still doing that when it really is facing right in front of us, we can see some big ones coming at us. Okay? So here is GO 16. This is the 195 angstrom. The 195 looks at a specific gas. It's a part of the light spectrum we can't see, so they assign it a number. This sunspot over here is the one I'm talking about. Okay, that's the one that's become very hyperactive. And again, I'll show it to you. But this here is the coronal hole. We are connected to that. We're going to be getting solar wind, increased density and speed from that in about 3 days. Okay? With this CME coming, with this coronal hole happening all at the same time, we could see, a significant geomagnetic storm out of this. Okay? I'm timid to say anything more than that. Like, I don't really want to assign a number to it. If I was forced to give you an opinion, I would say G2, maybe G3 on the high end. And most likely probably high G1 into G2, unless something else happens, is what I'm saying. Here's that sunspot again. This is visible light. You can see it right there. That's a pretty big core. You could probably fit 1 or 2 Earths in there. That's how big that sunspot is. And as you can see, guys, there's spots all over, right? I mean, I know they don't look big, but they don't have to be. And as I've shown you guys many times here before, you don't have to even have a sunspot to get CME action or even flares. Okay, So this is NOAA's model. The same, this model here is, this is NASA's, and it's the same model. They just take in consideration different data. Not really different, but they take certain data points, and this one holds certain parts of it more serious than others. So the models are different. They're showing you the same information, but they are showing you different stuff. Okay, I'm gonna just X out of that one. And, boy, that thing's loading slow. Okay, so anyway, as we can look here. So again, this is NOAA's, and we're about right here in time. We get 2 days historic data, and then it tries to forecast 5 days out in advance. You see this right here? That they're saying that CME is going to hit. Okay. Now, as you can tell, it looks like this is the CME out in front of it, and this looks like kind of like the solar wind that I was just showing you guys from the coronal hole. And it looks like it kind of split it, and it's just pushing it. And this is exactly what this model is trying to represent. But it's saying that we are going to take a hit over here right around in between the 4th and the 5th. And that matches up with the CME, and that matches up with the NASA model also. So we'll probably take a hit from it, is what I'm trying to say. Can't really say much more than that, but it is what it is, right? I wish I could give you guys a definite, but there is no definites in space weather, guys. And that's why it irritates me when people want to say that they're the only ones that know this, that, or the other. Well, if they say that to you, there's a few questions you can ask them that'll put them right back to where they thought they were. Ask them to show it to you, and then ask them why. That's all you got to do, typically. Usually you'll get crickets after that. Anyway, this is LASCO C3. This is a zoomed out version of this. Okay. It's the same satellite. It's on SOHO. And it, yeah, that's what it is. It's just, this one here is a little more zoomed in. But I like to show you guys the zoomed out version sometimes too, because you get kind of a more broader look. And you can see how it goes on out into space. And that was that last eruption right there. Now again, guys, this one may clip us, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Okay? Let me go here. This is ISWA. Alright? And this thing did not load very good, did it? Well, we'll let her fly here. We know what we're looking at here. So if we go here, this is ISWA, but this is a SDO satellite, and the SDO satellite's in geosynchronistic orbit, which means it stays over the same part of our planet at all times. Rotates at 15 degrees an hour around Earth's axis, but it always looks at the sun, which means there's an eclipse season. The Earth will pass in between the satellite and the sun. Okay, so with that being said, what I'm going to do here, this is the 94 angstrom of that satellite. Okay, and they can assign this any color. Remember, this is the 94 angstrom. Again, it's just that spot of the light spectrum. It is nothing more than that. Okay, go up here, and the eruption I'm talking about actually happens right here, and the eclipse actually happened right as this thing blew. I'll show you here in just a second. See that? That's the eclipse right there. The Earth passed in front of it for a few frames, and then it came back on. And look what's on. Look what happened when it showed back up, right here. This is the eruption that's getting us. Okay. And if you look over here, that's that second eruption going that way. But it has a filament involved with it. So let me show you that. I'll zoom in here a little bit more for you. There'll be a little dark green right there. See that right there? Right about. See all that? That's a filament that busted off the sun. that left the sun. That's the other CME. And because of where this is at, you got to think of a loop like this. So that filament broke about right here. So it means it was kind of flicking like that. So it has a chance of actually hitting us, giving us a glancing blow. But I'm not going to say for sure. We didn't see any what we call a halo signature. So if we do get hit, it's not from a halo signature. It could be just a little tap. Who knows? You know? Who knows? But anyway, so let me take you guys over here to the 211. And this one, we can see coronal holes on this one quite well. Okay? And right there. That's the coronal hole that's facing right towards us right now. Okay? So we are connected to that right now. That is something we're going to have to keep an eye on. It, you know, if it keeps getting bigger, that's just going to mean we're going to get more and more longer duration hit of, and could be stronger, could be higher dense. Who knows? In other words, we could get a stronger hit. I don't know. But you can tell that thing, you know, it kind of grew as it got in front of us. And because it didn't really look all that big over here. And there's something called the parallax effect. When you're looking at a sphere from a distance, stuff on the side, or even close up, stuff on the side will appear to be smaller than what they actually are. So as this rotate in, we always get that a little bit of that parallax effect. So it's a little bit deceiving sometimes when you see like a little small coronal hole over here, because if it stays the same size, and by the time it gets here, that parallax effect is gone, and that hole's going to be, you know, looks bigger. And in reality, it really didn't even grow. It was just that optical illusion from looking at a sphere. Okay? So, but anyway, there's that. Let me back that off. Okay, so that being said, now I tell you what though, I do want to zoom in here on this. Did this the 131 here, did it? Okay, good, I'll use the 131. We'll be able to see that sunspot flickering like a, well, like whatever. Oh, good. The 304 updated too. Hold on a minute here. I'm going to zoom in for you guys and give you guys a better look at that filament up here that busted off. Let me zoom in here. Sorry, I'm using a trackpad. I'm not sitting at my desk. My wife is in there doing homework. She's in college right now. And I'm trying to support her and not bug her. She's in there in the same room that we share a room to do this stuff in. She does her homework in there, and I do my YouTube stuff. So naturally, who gets kicked out? Me. Just kidding. I'm not kidding, but it's funny. I was just joking on that part of it. Anything my wife does always comes first, and then it ain't by her choice. It's my choice. Okay, so you're going to see a pretty decent eruption right here. Okay, notice there is no sunspot here. This is the filament. This is the 304 angstrom. When we look at this, and we're looking at filament eruptions, because it shows up. They show up in dark shadow looking string like usually. But you can tell, and you know what, I'm not even going to zoom in any further because I think you guys could really get a good look at this thing. Man. Okay, here we go. Then you have to go back down here and click this button. I don't know why I got to do this. This is ridiculous, but it's the way I have to do it. Okay, so I got it backed up, and what we're looking right here, okay? It'll be pretty obvious here in a second. You can see it starting to lift off, right? It's a pretty, very photogenic eruption, guys. Okay? That's a large eruption. And that is not even coming at us. So, thank God. Well, I don't want to say thank God. It just, yeah, we would have seen a pretty decent solar storm from that, is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't look like no kind of like grid down anything, but it's very photogenic and it is substantial. That's a large one, guys. And this right here goes to show you, you don't have to have a sunspot. You don't have to have you don't have to have a sunspot, but you don't have to have a flare happen to get a CME. We get these eruptions all the time without any of those. The sun can do what it wants, how it wants, and when it wants to do it. I say that all the time. And it's just the truth. It's just what it is. So yeah, so you got that. And that's a substantial eruption, guys. And what we're going to do, I'm going to scroll over here and see, because this is the area of where that CME that could be hitting us happened. So I haven't looked at the 304 on that yet. We'll take a look at it here, see if we see anything. It may not even hardly show up. Sometimes it doesn't. Remember, when we're looking at this, the sun's the background right here. This isn't on the limb, on the edge of the sun. The space isn't the background, so we can't see it as well. Doesn't mean we can't get a good idea where the stuff's coming from. It just simply means we just can't see it as well. In other words, it kind of camouflages things. Okay? So yeah. So let me take you guys over here. This is the 131 angstrom. And what are we going to look at here? We're going to look at this hyperactive sunspot over here. Okay? We should be able to get a pretty decent look on this 131. I hate it when it does that. Okay. So we're looking right here, and you're going to see, it's pretty evident. See how it kind of flickering right in there? It's just going to keep doing it. It's active. Okay? So we're going to have to keep our eye on it. That's all I'm saying. That's the only reason why I'm showing it to you, because this thing is going to be turning in facing us directly. Okay? So with that being, Dubious has a question. Okay. Where you at, Dubious? What you got? Throw it at me. I'm trying to scroll. Okay. If light takes 7.9 minutes to reach Earth, and light is the fastest particle wave in the existence, what affects the ionosphere at the same moment of a CME? Well, when you're talking about a CME, you're not talking about any kind of X-ray. Okay? So X-ray gets here basically at the speed of light, right? Takes a little bit close to 8 minutes, like you just said. When you're talking about a CME, Dubious, you're talking about charged particles. It actually has mass. Okay? So what that means is it takes time to get here. And you got a whole lot of forces acting upon it to how it gets here. You got magnetics that can help steer it because it has polarity. It's a charged gas. It's plasma. Okay? So whatever polarity is happening around it, if you got something that's opposite polarity, it's going to draw it towards it. You got something negative, it's going to depending on what the polarity is. Matching polarities will push against each other. Opposite polarities will draw, just like a bar magnet. Same concept. Now, with the eruption like a CME, those kinds of forces can be overcome by the actual eruption force itself. The gravity, starts to play a part in it because it does have mass. Okay, those kinds of things. The distance we are from the sun doesn't affect the X-rays. Okay, it gets here, boom, that's a flare. So a CME is actually particles hitting the Earth. That's the really basic way to put it out there for you. And it does come in easier on the poles. Okay? When it's coming in on the north to south pole, that's why. Because you got positive and negative right there. So it's drawn into our system that way. If you were to look at the Earth and you were to see its magnetic signatures, I mean, it looks pretty chaotic. but if you looked at like a very basic one, you would see large looping magnetic connection lines from north to south, almost like on both sides. If you're thinking in three-dimensional, it'd be like the Earth sitting in the middle of a donut, and draw lines around that donut vertically. That's what the magnetic field in a basic way would look. Okay. So with that being said, I mean, I hope that helps you out there, Dubious. You know, it sometimes it'll take 3 days for a CME to get here. It could take upwards of 5. But it's not acting under the same physics as X-ray is, because it's not light, and you're exactly right. It does act different, and the main difference is it has a charge, number one, and it's mass. So anything that has mass actually has gravity. So, you know, it can be slowed down, pulled this way or the other just by other gravitational forces. Okay? It doesn't happen so much with the distance we are to the sun. Taking in consideration all that, the X-rays aren't affected as much, is what I'm trying to say. So hopefully that helps you, man. If I missed the meaning of your question, I do apologize. But I think I got you there. Hopefully that helped you. And again, guys, listen, I'm in the same boat as most of you guys. I am still learning this, and I never will stop learning this. And speaking of that, you guys need to get over and check out Tam the Scove. If you guys want some free college-level explanations being explained in a way that you can understand them, go over to Tam the Scove's channel. She is she's a PhD. They call her the space weather woman. She's a professor, but she does live streams. Usually, typically when these things happen, or once a week, she'll do some space weather reporting. But she does stuff in the background too, like Patreon, and for people that want to like really get in depth with it. But go check her channel out. Go back and go through some of her playlists. She has 3 or 4 hour live streams where it's all about understanding what I'm talking about right now. She understands it at a level that I might not ever understand it at. So, she's brilliant in my opinion. I mean, I can't even say anything else. She really truly is. She just explains it in a way that people understand it, and that's what I try to do, you know, because I know how hard it is to understand this stuff, guys. It's not easy. And I still, like I said, I still get things wrong. This is our magnetosphere. Sun's to the left, sends weather our way, solar wind and things. Right now, there is nothing to show you. I'm not going to waste your time on that. It's just nothing going on. All right. Here are if you guys want to know, please go check this out over here at NOAA. You can go to the bottom of the page, on any page, when you go over to NOAA Space Weather Prediction. You can go over here, and you can get to any of the models I've been showing you. They're all here. You can get to these scales, and this is a scale to show you what happens, what kind of conditions would be expected during certain storming. You know, radio blackout storms. Those come from flares. Radiation storms. We just talked about this the other day. Oh, I want to address something too. Somebody left a comment and said, you know, hey, you know, this can affect us too, right? Radiation, the stuff that can hit us. Yeah, radiation does get to the surface. But what I want to say, I can't remember who left the comment. I mean, it was an intelligent comment. But you have to understand that the atmosphere pretty much eats it all up, unless you're getting into S3 range. Okay, we were here at S2. That's why I said it wasn't going to affect us much. This stuff down here, you see where it says biological? It says none on an S1 radiation storm. The reason it says that is because we should not be seeing radiation from a radiation storm during an S1 storm. We shouldn't be able to see that at the surface. There should be no effect on us from a S1 storm. And we typically aren't. That's why a lot of people don't even report on it. I think it's space weather news worthy to mention, because it does show, hey, we got some, space weather happening. Now, we got to an S2, and you talk about, that's when you start talking about people flying. Why do we talk about people flying? Well, because when you're higher altitude, you don't have as much atmosphere between you and the radiation. So it can't be filtered out, number one. Number two, people that fly towards the poles, like I said a minute ago, stuff comes in easier. You get more of it, more exposure on the poles. So when they're flying those flight patterns close to the North and South Pole, or just lower or higher latitudes, however you want to say that, that happens. They're exposed to more of it, and that's why. That's why it says right here. Now, so when you get up into S3, radiation hazard avoidance recommended for astronauts, okay? You know why that is? Because they're out there, basically, they still, depending on what kind of, where you're at in space, you'll have some protection from our magnetic field, like all of our satellites are, okay? Unless we take a big hit. And then our magnetic field will actually get compressed, and some of the satellites will be completely exposed to anything coming from the sun. That's why they get kicked off into safe mode. That's why they do this. That's why they do that. All those things. So that's why the astronaut thing is there. And as you go further and further, they'll start talking about things closer and closer and closer to the surface. So basically it boils down to this. We get hit with radiation storms, low level. Our atmosphere pretty much handles it for us, unless we start talking about S3. Or if you're going to be flying, you need to take consideration when we're at an S2, especially if you're pregnant, okay? Remember that. It is important, guys. I think some airlines won't even let pregnant women fly those high latitude flight paths during those storms. They monitor this, guys. The pilots aren't even allowed to fly so many hours in it a year. And the cabin crew. Okay, it's a serious thing. It can make people sick. It really can. So I thought that was a really intelligent question that was asked, or statement that was put in there. I wanted to address that because it's a well thought out comment. It really was. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys this. This is spaceweather.com. Okay, what this is last month's sun. Okay, they've taken each, like, eruption, bigger ones, and they've overlaid it on each other here. Okay, so basically we had an eruption one day, then 3 days later had another one. They overlaid them all right here so you could kind of see them all at once to see how active the sun actually was. It was very active. It says, this composite image shows the 10 strongest solar flares of January. That's just January, guys. So it's significant. That's a significant thing. And we're going to continue to see more and more and more and more and more. Okay? But yeah, so with that being said, that's what it is. You guys want to know about near-Earth objects, asteroids that barely miss us, or some of them that even actually hit? You guys can come over here and check it out here. They see them every day now. And if you look over here at the dates, you're going to see that most of them say 2024 before they name it. That's because that's when it was discovered. Every once in a while, you'll come over here, and it'll have a date that was past the date that it passed by us. You know what that means? It means they didn't even see it until it was past us. So, and yeah. So what I'm saying is, like Billy Bob Thornton said in the movie Armageddon, begging your pardon, Mr. President, it's a big-ass sky, right? You're not going to see all of it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a ridiculous thought to think that we can absolutely see everything. It just really is. And, and this is a fairly new thing, okay? They haven't been, tracking this stuff for very long. I think Dr. Tony Phillips over here, guys, does an awesome job, so go give him some love. Spaceweather.com. Great, great, great. The forecast calls for quiet. He's basically saying the same thing I was just saying a minute ago. We had 24 hours of quiet, and that is what it is. But we now have another CME. It's now coming. So I don't think he's got that in here yet. But the solar storm watch that we were under got canceled because it hit but it wasn't a storm. It wasn't strong enough to put us in the storm level. Okay, but we did get some space weather from it. Our magnetosphere reacted, and let me show it to you. I'll show it to you again back here. Okay, our density, the plasma density, it got up to like 70. Then we took another little small hit today. I think that was probably from a coronal hole, or that could have even been part of that glancing blow. So, but we didn't get into storm level. That's my main point here. Okay, so here in about next 3 days, we're going to be looking at probably an increase in aurora, depending on how strong this thing is and how hard it hits us right on the face. Okay, if it hits us directly, we could be looking at one thing. If it doesn't, we could be looking at a total different thing. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and play this right here. I want you guys to check this out again. Again, this is the 211. And what this is, like I said, 211 angstrom. This is SDO satellite. So there's a coronal hole. We are connected to that. We're going to continue to be connected to that probably for the next couple days. So that's definitely going to increase our solar wind within the next couple days. And it's going to last for 2 or 3, maybe even 4 days. And then we had the eruption right in here. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. It happened. And it is what it is. It's coming right at us. At least that's what the models are showing. So, I'm going to go to the chat here, guys. You guys got any questions? Questions at all? Anything? Anything at all? I'm going to wait. Hey, Russell, Renee, what's going on? Curve Creeper, what's happening? Guys, get over and check out Adam over at Marfugal, Adam and Dex over at Marfugal News, Marfugal TV. There's a lot of stuff going on in our world right now, guys. It's the best alternative news station on the net. They're good people. They're good friends of mine. Go check them out. Go check out Tommy over on the Lifeboat. If you guys have problems with addiction, you want some good advice, go over there. I used to co-host. Most of you guys understand that I had a pill addiction for a number of years, but I've been sober now for 15, going on 15, thank God. And it's due to my wife and my family, I can tell you that. I've been one of the very fortunate few to have such a great support here at my house and here in my family that I've never relapsed. And I'm proud of that. Just so everybody understands, I'm proud of that one. I'll wear that one all day long. But anyway, go over and check out Tommy over on the Lifeboat, guys. I mean, it's great. He's stepping out and doing some other stuff now, too, like true crime. He's getting into some of the SPTV stuff. That's where there's a group of them talking about ex-Scientologists and stuff like that, that got out of the church, and he's dealing with, doing some content with that. It's all good stuff, guys, so go check it out. So, anyway, do you believe in our sister system? I don't know, Cindy. I mean, I'd have to have a whole lot more, well, thank you, guys. I see all the congrats in there. That's awesome. Thank you. I'd have to have a whole lot more on what you're trying to say on that one, Cindy. Sorry. That's probably not going to happen tonight. Hey, Heather Joy, good to see you. Good to see you, girl. I ain't seen you in a minute. Hope you're well. Holding it down the Bronx, baby. You go for it, Angel. Clay, what's up? Clay, that's a good question. Clay asked what kind of mischief could this kind of eruption cause? We're not talking grid down, okay? Nothing like that. I do think that G1, G2 storming is probably likely. And what that means is we'll see increased aurora. We could see some, I don't know, we could see some minor electrical issues, but it's not going to be anything like grand scale. It will depend a lot. And that, as you say that, I'm going to take you guys here real quick. 99% of the stuff that I say is going to depend on this BZ, this red line right here. If it's at -6 or more, we always get hit. Okay? It's always stronger when it's -6 or more. So, and sometimes the polarity of the CME will be the opposite of what this is, and it'll draw in a lot more. If it's the same polarity, it will actually deflect it. Okay, so that'll make it not hit as hard. Great question. Great question. So yeah, I mean, I don't. Again, it's not going to be grid down. Listen, I'll say this too. If it's going to be grid down, that's going to be the first thing that comes out my mouth. I promise. Yeah, CR. That's great. It's great to hear. Yeah. See, that's a good thing. It's connection over there, guys. It's a connection. It truly is. And you know, and everybody finds that connection their own way over there. You'll see people just, you know, group up and talk to each other in the background. And then, you know, the channel's gotten big enough now that you can't really have one big thing in there in the chat. You do, but you don't. You find people to talk with in there, and everybody's always polite and stuff. So, I mean, it's not like it's a... And nobody judges you. That's another big thing. Another big thing. So, anyway, I could sit here and talk about that all day long. I used to co-host. So, I mean, yeah. Anyway. Heather joined it too. She's here. But anyway, PCM, what's up? Avalanche coming in 3 days. Strength yet unknown. Avalanche, huh? Interesting. Harper Lynn, what you got there? Ooh. Hey, Miss Dragon, what's going on? I think I said hi to... Hey, Daryl. See, Russell's in here too. All right, guys. I am going to go ahead and pop off, guys. You know, if anything else happens, you know I'm going to be here telling you about it. So, and I've been trying to do a live stream once a day at least, but don't always succeed with that. But the majority of the time I have been. And if I'm not going to do a full live stream, I'm at least going to come on and give you 5 or 10 minutes. So that's what I do. Hopefully you guys can enjoy it. Please, guys, please share this out. I'm trying to get back in the algorithm and stuff, and you know I'm using this now to kind of supplement what's going on in my life too. So it, you know, this matters a little bit on that end to me a little bit too. So please just watch and share it out. I really would appreciate it. And I got memberships coming next week. Promise. That's coming. Hey Ricky. Hey Flamin', love you, brother. And again, guys, I'm going to try to get more consistent on the time frame too. It's probably going to be more like between 8:30 and 9:30 when I start my stream. It will most likely always be under an hour because I think people lose interest after that. The YouTube doesn't like it either, YouTube algorithm. But I think a lot of people lose interest after that anyways. It's a long time to be on one channel. But anyway, guys, I am going to go ahead and pop off here. God bless. Yahusha saves. And, yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.